The Philippines, an archipelago nation of over 7,000 islands, has always grappled with the challenge of connectivity. Spanning its islands with roads, bridges and communication lines is essential for economic growth. Two presidents stand out for their ambitious infrastructure programs, Ferdinand Marcos Sr. and Rodrigo Duterte. Both saw infrastructure as a cornerstone of national development. However, their approaches differed greatly, shaped by the political and economic realities of their times. Marcos Sr., ruling during a period of authoritarianism, centralized power and control over projects. Duterte, governing in a democratic era, relied heavily on public-private partnerships. Their contrasting strategies offer valuable lessons for the future of infrastructure development in the Philippines. This essay examines the infrastructure legacies of these two presidents. It explores their key projects, the challenges they encountered, and the impact of their efforts on national development. By comparing their approaches, we can gain insights into the complexities of infrastructure development and its role in shaping the Philippines' future. Ferdinand Marcos Sr.'s rule from 1965 to 1986 was marked by ambitious infrastructure projects. These projects aimed to modernize the country and bolster his regime's image. The North Luzon Expressway, a 90-kilometer highway connecting Manila to the northern provinces, was a flagship achievement. It significantly reduced travel time and spurred economic activity in the region. Another iconic project was the San Juanico Bridge. This bridge, connecting the islands of Samar and Leyte, embodied Marcos Sr.'s vision of national unity. It stood as a symbol of engineering prowess, though its construction was plagued by allegations of corruption. Beyond highways and bridges, Marcos Sr. invested heavily in cultural and healthcare infrastructure. He built hospitals, schools, and cultural centers throughout the country. These projects, while ostensibly aimed at improving public welfare, also served a political purpose. They were used to project an image of progress and garner public support for his regime. One of Marcos Sr.'s most controversial projects was the Bataan nuclear power plant. This ambitious endeavor, intended to address the country's energy needs, was ultimately abandoned due to safety concerns and allegations of corruption. The plant stands today as a stark reminder of the risks associated with large-scale infrastructure projects. Marcos Sr.'s infrastructure drive, while impressive in scope, was not without its challenges. The construction boom coincided with a period of global economic instability. The oil crisis of the 1970s hit the Philippine economy hard, leading to inflation and a decline in purchasing power. This economic downturn strained government finances, making it increasingly difficult to fund large-scale projects. To sustain his infrastructure ambitions, Marcos Sr. resorted to heavy borrowing from international lenders. While this influx of foreign capital allowed him to continue building, it also saddled the Philippines with a massive debt burden. This debt would continue to plague the country for decades to come. Furthermore, the centralized nature of Marcos Sr.'s regime fostered corruption and cronyism. Contracts were often awarded not through transparent bidding processes but through patronage networks. This lack of transparency led to inflated project costs and substandard construction in some cases. The legacy of Marcos Sr.'s infrastructure program is therefore a mixed one. While he left behind impressive structures that continue to benefit the country, they came at a high cost. His regime's economic mismanagement and rampant corruption cast a long shadow over his infrastructure achievements. Rodrigo Duterte, elected president in 2016, promised a new era of infrastructure development. His ambitious Build, Build, Build program aimed to address the country's long-standing infrastructure deficit and spur economic growth. Duterte's approach differed significantly from that of Marcos Sr. Operating within a democratic framework, he emphasized public-private partnerships as a key strategy. This approach aimed to leverage private sector expertise and capital to accelerate infrastructure development. One of the flagship projects of the Build, Build, Build program was the completion of the Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3. This elevated highway, stretching 18 kilometers, aimed to alleviate traffic congestion in the capital region. Its completion was hailed as a major achievement, demonstrating the potential of public-private partnerships in delivering critical infrastructure. Beyond Metro Manila, Duterte's government focused on improving connectivity between islands. The Cebu-Cordova Link Expressway, an 8.5-kilometer bridge connecting Cebu City to Mactan Island, is a prime example. This project aims to ease traffic congestion and boost tourism in the region. Duterte also prioritized the expansion of mass transportation systems in major urban centers. The construction of the MRT-7 and extensions of existing LRT lines in Metro Manila are key components of this effort. These projects aim to provide commuters with more efficient and affordable transportation options. Section 5. Navigating the challenges, public-private partnerships, and the price of progress. Despite its ambitions, the Build program faced numerous challenges. The reliance on public-private partnerships, while attracting private investment, also raised concerns about transparency and affordability. Critics argued that some PPP contracts were overly favorable to private corporations, potentially burdening the government with high costs in the long run. Moreover, the rapid pace of construction raised concerns about environmental sustainability and the displacement of communities. The construction of the Kaliwa Dam, a controversial project aimed at addressing water shortages in Metro Manila, drew criticism for its potential impact on indigenous communities and biodiversity. The Duterte administration also pushed for the development of New Clark City, a planned metropolis envisioned as a model of sustainability and disaster resilience. However, the project's slow pace of development and high costs have drawn scrutiny. Despite these challenges, the Build program has undoubtedly made significant strides in addressing the Philippines' infrastructure gap. The completion of several key projects has improved connectivity and enhanced the country's economic potential. However, the long-term sustainability and inclusivity of this development model remain open questions. Section 6. A Tale of Two Builders, Comparing Approaches Across Decades. Comparing the infrastructure legacies of Marcos Sr. and Duterte reveals striking contrasts. Marcos Sr., operating under an authoritarian regime, wielded centralized power to push through his vision. His projects, often grand in scale, aimed to project an image of national progress and bolster his regime's legitimacy. Duterte, governing in a democratic era, adopted a more decentralized approach, relying heavily on public-private partnerships to leverage private sector resources. His Build program, while ambitious, has faced scrutiny over transparency, affordability, and its social and environmental impact. The economic contexts of their presidencies also differed significantly. Marcos Sr.'s infrastructure drive coincided with a period of global economic turmoil, leading to heavy borrowing and a debt crisis that would haunt the Philippines for years to come. Duterte, on the other hand, benefited from a period of relative economic stability, enabling him to attract foreign investment and pursue his infrastructure agenda more aggressively. Despite these differences, both leaders shared a belief in the transformative power of infrastructure. They saw it as a key driver of economic growth, national unity, and social progress. Section 7. Beyond Concrete and Steel, the Human Impact of Infrastructure Development. While infrastructure projects are often evaluated based on their physical scale and economic impact, it's crucial to consider their human dimension. Both Marcos Sr. IDS and Duterte's infrastructure programs have had profound effects on the lives of ordinary Filipinos. The construction boom during the Marcos Sr. era, while creating jobs, also led to the displacement of communities and environmental degradation. The construction of the Pan-Philippine Highway, for instance, while improving connectivity, also resulted in the loss of forests and the displacement of indigenous peoples. Similarly, the Build program has generated both opportunities and challenges for local communities. While new roads and bridges have improved access to markets and services, they have also led to rising property values and the displacement of low-income families in some areas. The construction of new airports and tourism infrastructure, while boosting the economy, has also raised concerns about the displacement of fishing communities and the degradation of coastal ecosystems. These examples highlight the importance of incorporating social and environmental considerations into infrastructure planning and implementation. Section 8. Enduring legacies shaping the Philippines through infrastructure. The infrastructure legacies of Marcos Sr. and Duterte continue to shape the Philippines today. Marcos Sr.'s grand projects, though tainted by corruption and human rights abuses, left behind tangible assets that continue to benefit the country. The North Luzon Expressway, for instance, remains a vital artery for commerce and transportation. Duterte's Build, Build, Build program, while still unfolding, has made significant strides in addressing the country's infrastructure deficit, particularly in terms of connectivity and transportation. However, the true measure of their legacies lies not just in the structures they built, but in the long-term impact on the lives of Filipinos. Have these infrastructure projects translated into inclusive economic growth, improved living standards, and a more sustainable future? These are questions that will continue to be debated for generations to come. Ultimately, the success of any infrastructure program should be judged not just on its physical achievements, but on its ability to empower communities, protect the environment, and create a more equitable and prosperous society. Section 9. A future built on the past lessons learned and the road ahead. The contrasting approaches of Marcos Sr. and Duterte offer valuable lessons for the future of infrastructure development in the Philippines. Their experiences highlight the importance of transparency, accountability, and public participation in infrastructure planning and implementation. Moving forward, it's crucial to prioritize projects that not only address immediate infrastructure needs, but also promote long-term sustainability, social equity, and environmental protection. The Philippines' infrastructure journey is far from over. As the country grapples with the challenges of rapid urbanization, climate change, and a growing population, the need for robust and sustainable infrastructure will only become more acute. By learning from the successes and failures of the past, the Philippines can chart a path toward a future where infrastructure serves as a catalyst for inclusive and sustainable development, benefiting all Filipinos for generations to come.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Always Mabel Canada and click the notification bell to get notified every time we upload all the amazing videos. See you next time.